Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So I'm going to wait for a few people to tune in before I get started. I want to encourage people while we wait to follow me on Instagram at New Pos Blog. Also, I encourage you to follow my personal Instagram at Anson Osaka, and you can follow my Facebook page, New Possibilities. On that page, I regularly post the articles that I eventually talk about here on YouTube. So I want to encourage you to follow those pages. Also, I'm a part of a book club called Reading is Activism. I want to encourage you all to like that page on Facebook. If you are interested in books, if you like to read great books by Black authors, I encourage you to join Reading as Activism. You can like our Facebook page. We meet on the last Saturday of each month. So I encourage you all to join that page as well. So I'm going to wait a couple of minutes for people to join, and then I'll get started. So just please bear with me a second. I'll be right back. Shout out to Fredro. Thanks for tuning in. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm sure by now you all heard this story about the so-called Gorilla Glue Girl. This is a young sister who ran out of, this hair product that basically helps people to slick their hair down and keep it in place. So since she ran out of this particular product, this woman thought it was a good idea to get some Gorilla Glue and spray it in her hair. And so she sprayed this Gorilla Glue in her hair, slicked her hair down with this glue. And then later she realized that she couldn't get this glue out and her hair was stuck down. So she eventually had to go to the hospital to get assistance with this. They put like nail polish remover in her hair and saline water. And hopefully, this problem is resolved. It sounds like the problem has been addressed. And on top of that, this woman started a GoFundMe for assistance. And I think she raised like $14,000 from this GoFundMe. And when I first saw this story, I was like, what in the hell motivated this girl? Like, how in the hell are you going to think it's a bright idea to put some damn Gorilla Glue into your hair, knowing what that product is for? Like, they use that product to glue things in place for a long period of time. Like if you break a dish or you break a statue or something like that and you want to glue it together, people use that kind of glue for that. I've broken things and I actually have Gorilla Glue. I mean, it makes zero sense for someone to use this. And I can understand why a lot of people have basically gone off, on this girl, like just from a, emotional standpoint, or just looking at it like you think like, how can anybody in their right mind do something this crazy, this stupid and all that kind of stuff? So people just clowned her and looked at her as like a buffoon, like who does stuff like this? And I understand that, like, and that was my initial reaction when I first heard the story. But I wasn't like, my initial reaction was like, I'm not going to talk about this. I'm not going to touch it. It's crazy that somebody would think that this was a bright idea. But I saw this article from Essence, and I want to share it with you. And it raises some very interesting points about this whole hair issue and Black women and stuff. And basically, to provide an overview, shout out to everybody that's tuning in. Just to provide an overview, it talks about the struggles of Black women in hair. It talks about the self-hatred issues. It talks about how women have basically been trained basically to really hate their natural hair. and to believe that they have to change who they are and all that kind of stuff, and just the challenges of Black women and Black hair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some excerpts from this Essence article, and then I'm also going to show a clip from Malcolm X talking about this issue of self-hatred in our community, and then I'll be back with some commentary. So let me share my screen. Yeah, so yeah, so somebody said that child was young and stupid. I believe she didn't know any better. I'm just like wondering, like, how could anybody in their right mind think that everything would be okay if you're spraying like industrial strength glue in your hair? Like, what other kind of result could you have expected from that? Uh, so, but before I go off, let me just share my screen so you all can see this particular article. Okay, so this article, first of all, says that people need to stop, you know, disrespecting this woman by calling her Gorilla Glue Girl. You know, so that's one thing that they're saying. You know, and they spell out her name, Miss Brown. You know, they talk about her. And this is what the article basically says. It says, you know, it talks about how this has generated, you know, a firestorm on social media. Everybody's been talking about it. Um, and it basically says she didn't come on to TikTok and Instagram in hopes of finding a new do for the year or stuff like that. She wanted help with the situation that she was in. She ran out of Got to Be Glue, which is like this uh, gel, whatever, that helps women keep their hair, quote unquote, in place and smooth and slicked down. So she decided to use Gorilla spray to lay her edges and her style. And her hair was stuck like that for a month. And she reached out to the community seeking help. That's why she went on social media seeking help with this particular issue. And she eventually had to go to the doctor, as you see right here. And as I pointed out, she had to get nail polish remover in her hair, and also this saline water. And in this one article that I read, she was talking about how it was painful, like it was burning her hair and stuff like that. Um, and this person goes on to just talk about like the issues that women have with hair and stuff like that. You know, all the challenges that they have with hair. And, you know, this article in particular says the relationship Black women have with our hair has always been a complicated one. Many of us torture our hair into compliance because we're tired of being called nappy-headed, especially by folks who look like us. And that's one of the things about this self-hatred, this pervasive in the Black community. Like, it may have initially started with white indoctrination, you know, the myth of white supremacy, where we've been taught that whiteness is the standard of beauty. So hair that resembles European hair is labeled as quote unquote good hair, and hair that resembles African hair, you know, the hair of our ancestors, is called nappy and all that kind of stuff. A very derogatory term. So we early on are indoctrinated. And a lot of times, you know, everyone is indoctrinated. The men are indoctrinated to view women with long, straight hair as more attractive than women with quote unquote nappy hair or afro type of styles or other types of natural hairstyles. Um, so this indoctrination runs deep. And the thing is, it's not some white man you know, making these comments about hair. It's usually people's mothers, their own mothers, their brothers, their sisters, their fathers, and their, you know, their relatives and their friends and family talking about they're nappy headed. telling them that they have bad hair, that they don't have good hair. And when they see some light-skinned black person with straighter hair or curly hair and stuff like that, they're told that that's quote unquote good hair. And so that's part of the reason why a lot of women feel all this pressure to straighten their hair and to put in extensions and all that kind of stuff because of this self-hatred issue. Um, women that had their hair low are called bald-headed and stuff, as this article points out. Um, and so, we have to deal with the root causes of things. Like, why would she even want her hair, quote unquote, slicked down the way she had it? Why would she want to have extensions or, a weave in her head? Those are the questions that we need to confront. Like, why do so many of our sisters feel this way, that they have to get foreign hair, like hair from not even black people, but hair from Indian people, hair from Chinese people, and put this foreign hair over their natural hair that grows out of their head? They feel that natural need to do that because of the programming, the indoctrination that's pervasive in black communities. Uh, and this is not something, I mean, it primarily affects women. Like, women primarily are the ones that have to deal with these hair issues and the politics around hair. But men also have these issues as well, because a lot of times, a lot of men will cut their hair very low, so they can't see the natural state of their hair, so they keep it very low and stuff like that to avoid showing, having an afro and all that kind of stuff. So that's, another issue, because men have been told that their hair was quote unquote nappy and all that kind of stuff. So this is a continuing issue, as this article points out, this hair issue. And there are some positive trends, like in terms of people being more natural. Like, you have this hairstyle called the cruddy. You have people wearing afros more commonly now, and locks and all that kind of stuff. So you do have a lot of natural hairstyles. But despite all of that, despite the Black is Beautiful movement of the 60s and 70s, despite even today's natural hair movement, you still have many Black women in particular, and Black people in general, that have this hatred toward our own hair. After all these years of programming, after all these years of being indoctrinated to hate ourselves, that's what you see. And that's why you would have somebody that wants to have their hair slicked down to the point where they felt the need to reach and grab some gorilla glue to address their situation. Um, So, you have the person talking about how they would never call her gorilla girl, because that's basically dehumanizes and all that stuff, even though that's in my title, just to bring attention to the particular issue. So she set up a GoFundMe to assist with medical expenses. And I want to hear from you, like, what do you all think about that? Like, I'm wondering, like, why that would even be necessary, given the fact that she was able to go to the doctor, and I don't think she had to pay all this money to get that done. Like, I don't know if that's an appropriate thing for somebody to be raising money for some stupid mistake that they made. Um, so yeah, so that's that article. And what I want to do is just play this quick excerpt from Malcolm X, where he is talking about this issue of self-hatred in the Black community. And hopefully you're all are able to hear the audio from this particular video. So I'm going to try to turn it up. Yeah, I think it's turned up.
Who taught you to please? Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. You know, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach you? You should ask, Prove yourself. Who taught you to hate being what God gave
Yeah, so that's the video from Malcolm X. And, you know, that video raises a profound question about this self-hatred that we have. Yeah, so we know that this is a serious issue, man. We all are familiar with all this stuff. We're familiar with people being called nappy-headed. We all know this stuff. We're familiar with people talking about certain people have good hair because it looks like white people's hair, because it's straight, because it's quote unquote manageable, whatever that means. What is wrong with our hair just growing the way it naturally grows? Why are our sisters spending, you know, all these thousands upon thousands of dollars, in fact, millions of dollars, buying foreign hair from foreign people to cover up their natural hair that grows out of their head? It's just this whole situation with this quote unquote gorilla glue girl. It just epitomizes the level of self-hatred that exists in our community, a self-hatred that would drive you to the point where you think it's appropriate to get some industrial strength glue to lay down your hair, quote unquote, to make it all smooth, to keep it in place. What's wrong with your own natural hair? Yeah, so, you know, the whole situation is crazy. So I didn't want to keep y'all too long with this particular video. Shout out to everyone in the chat room. Thanks for tuning in. And I want to shout out my brother again for coming on here earlier with the last video. Much respect to him. And I plan to have more guests as people have recommended. And I plan to have my brother as a regular guest on here talking about various issues. And again, I encourage you to support my brother, you know, in this channel. So I want to give some quick shout outs before I sign off. I'm going to do a series of videos tonight. So if you can roll with me tonight, much respect to you. Shout out to you. If not, you can check it out on the playback. So shout out to Fredro again. Shout out to Def Rocker. Shout out to Water Sniper. Shout out to Sandy. Thanks for tuning in. Shout out to Elmo's World. Yeah, it looks like she's not going to be permanently bald. Like, it seems like, you know, they were able to help her with the situation. So someone said the mere fact that the press and social media companies are making money off of her predicament. And then they also pointed out how why shouldn't she be soliciting donations? So that's an interesting comment. Like, and I know like this glue company, they're getting all this free advertising. I mean, it's for something negative, but their name is all over the place because of this whole incident. So Leslie Davis said, I don't think she should not get the money. To say we should not donate to help her, I feel is an abusive statement. I'm sure she can't afford the treatment. We don't have each other's back. I mean, I don't know what kind of health insurance she has or whatever, but like she went to the doctor and they were able to help her. And I understand that she went home as well. They gave her the things that she needed to deal with her hair situation at home. It is a difficult situation because she said, as I mentioned earlier, that when she applies this nail polish remover to this stuff, it burns her hair, it burns her scalp and everything. So her hair is going to be damaged. And it is an ordeal, but the question is whether or not she actually needs funds to help her out. Like maybe she may need funds for a wig or something like that because she may have to cut her hair. I'm not sure about that, but it seems like everything is fine at this point. But it's just a horrible thing that somebody would make, do something like that. Again, I don't understand like what somebody is thinking. How somebody could think that that was a good idea to put that glue in their head. Um, so Def Rocker asked if I saw the documentary about hair, Chris Rock's documentary about hair. And yeah, I did see that documentary a few years ago. And if I'm not mistaken, that documentary is on Netflix or one of those streaming services. So if you haven't seen Chris Rock's documentary on black hair, I encourage you to check it out because it deals with all this issue, these issues, the issue of self-hatred, the issue of people paying all these exorbitant fees for this fake hair or, hair from foreign people. They deal with that. So I encourage you all to see that if you haven't seen that documentary. Oh, so Blood Honey said that her scalp will be permanently damaged. Um, Burned either by acetone or the glue. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, to the extent that the money is actually needed to help her with her condition, I don't have a problem with that. But if it goes beyond that, then I have an issue with that. Um, yeah, so with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Again, I will be back up here with a couple of other videos. There are a couple of other things that I want to talk about. So with that, peace and blessings. Please rate, comment, subscribe, like the video, share the video, hit that notification bell so that you'll know when I post new content on here. Peace and blessings. Have a great evening.